Hi guys, it's Jeff here from the Authentic channel. Today I wanted to make a video about narcissists again, and I wanted to address the question of whether narcissists can ever change, because this often seems to come up in discussions I've had with people about narcissists. Now, the short answer to this question is no, but the long answer is a bit more complicated, and that's what I wanted to make my video about today. So, children with narcissistic traits, or fleas as they're sometimes known, they can often benefit from therapy or take steps to reform their behavior in their late teens and early 20s. Narcissistic children often experience relationship problems, and occasionally these problems are so emotionally painful that they are driven to seek out therapists, self-help books, or healthy role models. The problem is by the age of 25, the brain is fully developed, and it becomes substantially harder to change your personality and habits. So there are people after the age of 25, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or even later, who, through sheer hard work, do manage to change their personality. They do manage to reform their behavior. These people are rare. It becomes significantly harder after the age of 25 to do any of this sort of self-growth work. Now, the reason for this is quite interesting. It's because in the brain, we form neural paths through repeating behaviors until they become habits. And obviously, someone who's much older is going to have habits that are that much more ingrained. Now, if you take this general truth about neurobiology and you apply it to narcissists, the narcissist has made a lifetime habit out of concealing his authentic self using a mask, which he wears in public, which he wears in front of all but his nearest and dearest who see him or her as the narcissist really is. And the thing with a narcissist is if they don't seek out change in their early 20s or when the personality disorder isn't fully fledged, the narcissistic personality disorder, the NPD, tends to take a stronger and stronger hold over their brain. And eventually they reach the point of no return where their entire personality is taken over by the narcissistic full self. And at this point, there's really very little indeed that they can do to change. For them to even consider changing would require going back on 20, 30, 40, 50 years of habits. And that is exceptionally painful and something that no one really wants to do. Narcissists are incredibly resistant to entering therapy. Their resistance to any form of change is legendary in the therapeutic community. And from the perspective of someone with narcissistic personality disorder, you can kind of understand why this is the case. If you just stop to put yourself in their shoes for a moment, a narcissist is someone who thinks they are perfect. They genuinely think they're God's gift to the earth, that everybody loves them, that they are the greatest parent, they're the greatest person who's ever walked the planet at their job. And they spend their entire lives pushing away people who just get close enough to them to just get a glimpse for a moment of that true self behind the narcissistic mask. So those people who might dare to give them feedback that's not in line with the mask that they wear. And so their entire life they're pushing away that knowledge that if they really accepted it, that they'd be able to change. Um, and it's for that reason that they're so resistant to entering therapy or having any sort of mature conversation about their flaws, for example. Now, occasionally narcissists will go to therapy. I've read about cases where this has happened before. And if they do go to therapy, it's frequently so that they can find justification or rationalization for their behavior rather than making any real attempt to change. The sad thing is that there are many therapists who are themselves narcissistic, or because they've never really had any first-hand exposure to it, they don't really have a sufficient understanding of NPD. And obviously, narcissists are these incredibly persuasive and manipulative and charming and charismatic individuals. And as a result, they often end up finding support for their views in therapy or successfully portraying themselves as the victim. So again, they end up resisting change. They end up going into therapy just to prove their existing worldview rather than really looking to reform themselves, and that's quite sad. So having talked about narcissists, I now want to address address you, the individual who's pulled up this video. My guess is if you clicked on this video, you're someone who has come into a contact with a narcissist, whether it's in your personal life or your family or in your work life. And my telling you that a narcissist is very unlikely to ever change probably isn't the news that you want to hear. And so I'm sorry that I have to give you this news. And I can understand why this might make you feel very sad and even desperate. Because if the narcissist in your life is a parent or a spouse, for example, it's entirely human to want love and emotional intimacy from people like that. And to see these narcissistic individuals for the flawed, damaged human beings that they are, and to recognize that the chances that they're ever going to change are virtually zero is extremely difficult. It's an extremely challenging thing to do. So again, I apologize that I have to give you this news. You might often, if you're someone who's lived with a narcissist, you might often find yourself hoping that if you can just find the words to express to them how you feel when you're around them, if you can just express yourself in the perfect way, then maybe one day, if you keep working at it, you might be able to get through to them and you'll be able to have a good relationship. The most important feature of therapy or coaching or self work for individuals who've been in painful contact with a narcissist is this acceptance that um, the narcissist is never going to change. As I've said, the narcissist has no reason to change because they see themselves as perfect. They see everybody else as the problem. I'd like to add here that as a general point, it's not a good idea to try to change people when you have relationships with them. It's hard enough to change yourself. You'll know this if you ever tried to make a serious effort to change your life, and it's up to somebody else to really make that effort in their lives. It's not something you can do for them to change them for themselves. It's something that they have to do themselves. So no, narcissists are very unlikely to change, and so you're left with the option to see them as they are, see them as the deeply flawed, deeply emotionally damaged, uh, often victims of abuse that themselves that they are. And accepting this is very painful, but as I say, is extremely important. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it valuable. If you found the guidance in this video useful and you know someone in your life who could benefit from watching this video, please send it to them. Please spread the word. It's very important that people realize that narcissists and indeed most abusers are very unlikely to change as people. So I'd be grateful if you could help me spread the word about that. Other than that, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon in the next video.